The Seahawks are hapless in Seattle as the Bills dominate from start to finish 31-10 to go 6-2 on the season. Get into week 8. We're going to recap this entire episode, this entire game from from start to back. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Bills defensive end Greg Rousseau, and you're listening to Nate and the Fellas on Circling the Wagons podcast on the Buffalo Rumblings Podcast Network. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Go Bills!
Where else would you rather be than right here, right now?
Hey, let's go Buffalo! Hey, let's go Buffalo!
The Bills make me wanna shout.
Episode of Circling the Wagons, a Buffalo fan base Bills Mafia podcast. I am your host, Nate, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on this tremendous win, this tremendous victory in Seattle. This was a great win. We're going to recap the entire thing. We're going to give our thoughts on the game, our general thoughts on the game. We're going to give our stats of the game, our sweet, sassy, molassy plays of the game, our wall of fame and wall of shame, and a ton more. So if you're interested, if you want to get in on this, we are recording this live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're hearing this, wherever you're seeing this. So get in. I'm checking out the comments as they go along. As it makes sense, I'm going to keep pulling them up. So guys, feel free to do that as the episode goes along. But yeah, big win, John. I'm joined by my co-host John for this episode. Mike couldn't make it, so John's here. John with the Fisher Price buddies as his screen. What's going on, man?
Going good. I gotta say, I think there's a missed opportunity when you said Hapless in Seattle at the beginning. Like, there's got to be a Sleepless in Seattle reference in there somewhere, right?
I know. I was trying to think of Sleepless. They had to do with the Bills. It was hard to find anything that I had one message to me by Big R, who's always good at these things. He said he had a ton of them. Bills. He also had Bills rain on Seattle parade. Win score. He said Bills achieve Nirvana. Like he had some really good ones, man. Big R. Shout out to Big R. But yeah, hapless in Seattle. I couldn't think of one where I couldn't think of one. It was just like, perfect. It wasn't even perfect because there was a lot of penalties, but we'll get into that, man. What'd you think of the game overall? How are your thoughts on how the Bills looked? And yeah, what's going on?
Overall, I think is what you would want to expect. That they played a great defensive game. Offense was good. That like their first drive was amazing, 90 yards, getting the touchdown. The defense held on. The Seahawks had the ball inside the 3 a couple times during the game. Bills got some breaks too, but it just went really well, and it was really great to see.
I was worried I know DK Metcalf was out, so that was huge for the Buffalo Bills. One of the things I was worried about, though, was Kenneth Walker, right? He's a good running back, and the Bills held him to 12 yards on 9 carries, and that's without Terrell Bernard, and obviously Matt Milano's out the whole season, but that's without Terrell Bernard as well. So, all things considered, that's pretty good, man. The defense, like you said, stepped up. The offense has been doing what the offense has been doing all season. It feels like put up over 30 points. They looked really good offensively. Josh moving the ball. A ton of penalties in this game. Luckily, they weren't all for the Bills. Surprisingly, they got lucky on a few. John, one of the things I did pull away from that the Bills did get some calls in their favor normally wouldn't get, right? So I'm talking about the Geno Smith fumble, like you alluded to, the fumble on 2nd and goal where it went back 19 yards because of a missed snap. Uh, the Geno Smith when he after the Josh Allen interception, his only interception of the entire season in Week 8, by the way, his only interception. Geno Smith tripped on 4th and goal. I mean, the Bills did get some things in their favor. I still think they win, even if those things don't happen the way that they do. But it just felt like could go well for the Bills that normally don't necessarily go well for the Bills did today. Did you get that feeling at all?
I did, and there were a couple of plays in particular. The one was the third down play where the Bills, Josh Allen fumbled it forward a whole bunch of yards, and they picked up the first down. And I was like, I didn't think you could advance the ball on a fumble like that, but apparently, unintentional kick. Oh, then it's fine. And then, what was the other one?
Bills
It
got
was it was
illegal.
offsetting penalties. Yeah. There was an illegal shift or something, and
Mhm.
then there was on Seattle. It was
Roughing the passer.
yeah, yeah. It was a roughing or something, and I thought, oh, that's offsetting because they always call offsetting on things like that, and they didn't that time. They're like, nope, this overrules that one. I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard that before, but okay.
I know. Well, that's the way it should be, but I don't feel like I've seen that against the Bills where
Never benefited us before,
last year
so
where we were recapping a game that didn't happen. Like where there was a roughing the passer, personal misconduct or whatever, where it was a 15-yard penalty and the play did not go against or not go for the Bills, and the other one was like offsides, right? So yeah, it was nice to see that. And then, yeah, the fact that led, and not only that, the Seattle Seahawks defensive linemen were fighting each other. Like that's something that you don't see that often. You between other teams, or it's like, oh, that's something the Bills would have done maybe in the drought or something. But yeah, yeah, cool, man. Yeah,
it's
so
good.
let's. Sweet Sassy Molassie plays of the game, Wall of Fame, Wall of Shame. But man, there's a lot to like about this team. There's a lot to like about this win. I mean, the Seahawks aren't a bad team. Like a lot of people have been saying, oh, the Bills only beat up on bad teams, the Titans, the Jets, all teams that are winless. I mean, Seattle's not the best team in the NFC, but at 4-3, like they're a pretty good team in like a tough division. So, uh, and then the Bills had a game, and the Bills still showed up. I think that it's still a good win. Uh, I would have taken, a close win with all those circumstances that I just mentioned, but it wasn't close at all. It was a relaxed part of some of the other wins. Like it's been a pretty good season overall. I mean, I know they're 6-2, so it's obviously a good season, but there's been a lot more times of relaxation for Bills Mafia than there has been in previous seasons when you're running into this, right? Like this feels like a good season, and minus a couple of that Baltimore Ravens beatdown was exactly what they needed to get where they are right now, to really take a look at themselves instead of just saying, oh, we're 4-0 or whatever. Like they took this as an opportunity to be like, okay, now we need to do a lot better. We need to trade for Amari Cooper. John, Amari Cooper was barely on the stat sheet, but the Bills offense was still humming today. And I think it was just kind of like his impact where you don't necessarily see it. Just the fact that he's on the field allows guys like Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman to eat.
Yeah, agree 100%. Kincaid had nice plays as well. Uh, yeah,
James Cook looked great today. And let's do this. Let's get it right into stats of the game. All right. Stats of the game. Josh Allen, 24 for 34, 283 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Great stat line by Josh Allen. James Cook, your buddy, your boy, Captain Cook, John, 17 carries, 111 yards, 6.5 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns. Dude, how good did let him cook James Cook look today?
It's amazing. He's playing against them in fantasy.
Oh, geez, of course, the
Of
week
course,
that he goes off.
of course, the Bills could come first, so it didn't bother me that I'm probably going to lose, but looked great. Offensive line looked great minus the penalties, but otherwise was good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know, it's funny. We kind of talked at the tail end of last week's post game. Ray Davis be playing over James Cook because Ray Davis looked a little bit better last week. James Cook kind of put that to rest this week and looked fantastic. I mean, like I just mentioned, 6.5 yards per carry. The guy was darting through holes. Like you said, the offensive line did a lot of it, did a bunch of it. But I mean, Cook looked good on his own, finding the space, making the right reads at times. He just looked electric with the ball in his hands, and it helped open up the pass game for Josh Allen and getting the ball open to the receivers. I love the way that James Cook ran today. I think he's holding off Ray Davis for at least another week or two with that run. But I mean, how can you not? Okay, we're going to talk Wall of Fame, Wall of Shame, but I mean, how can he not be at least a mention today?
They're both great backs, and they have Ty Johnson, who's no slouch either. So they're in good shape at running back. Great to see.
Yeah, I like Ty Johnson. We're going to talk about Ty Johnson in a minute, but he might have had the play of the game today. But leading receiver for the Buffalo Bills, Khalil Shakir, 9 receptions on 10 targets, 107 yards today. John, just how good is Khalil Shakir? Because I mean, we've been fans of him for a couple seasons now, and now it's like he's finally, developed into this wide receiving threat, and it just helps that Amari Cooper is over there to kind of take some of the heat off of him. But this is, I mean, I love Khalil Shakir as the Buffalo Bills wide receiver one, wide receiver two, depending on the week, whatever. I mean, he just gets open. Last time the Bills had a wide receiver like this on the team, where it's like he's almost got like the ability to get open like Cole Beasley, but at the same time, like the yards after catch of like, I don't know, LaShawn McCoy or something. Like it's crazy. I mean, Khalil Shakir is easily becoming one of my most fun players to watch on this Buffalo Bills team in 2024 season.
Always like Shakir as well, and like you said, the yards after the catch and finding the open spaces. But in addition to that, he actually catches the ball. Like he's like over the last several years, they've had problems with receivers dropping balls, and he's been super consistent in that aspect. So all three of those things, like just amazing.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You brought up probably the most important point, which was Khalil Shakir's hands. I mean, we've also been missing that. I mentioned missing Yak, missing the ability to run after yards after the catch. Just the ability to catch the ball, one would say, is kind of important. So, yeah, Michael Biggs says Cook is a bit more slippery than Davis. You can see they wanted to work the outside edges in the run game. I agree with the slippery part. He kind of like if we're going to compare to other Bills players, like I just did a second ago, the slipperiness of James Cook kind of reminds me a little bit of the slipperiness of Fred Jackson, perhaps like through the middle. Remember, Fred Jackson would just run into a pile and he would just find a way to get like 4 or 5 yards when there was absolutely no place to get any yardage, right? It kind of reminds me of that a little bit. He doesn't have the slipperiness for sure. I like that. I like that from James Cook. And I feel like the Bills haven't had like a slippery running back in a while, maybe since LaShawn McCoy. Next leading receiver for the Buffalo Bills, Keon Coleman, 5 receptions on 7 targets for 70 yards and a touchdown. Khalil Shakir, we mentioned Khalil Shakir. Dude, Keon Coleman, we haven't even mentioned Amari Cooper besides the fact that he wasn't really even involved in today's, passing game. Only had 2 targets on the day, so I won't mention him again. But John, I mean, this is the kind of like wide receiving core we were hoping for the Buffalo Bills to have since training camp. And again, I think it's partly due to, Amari Cooper being out on the field, but there's so many more options and it opens things up for these guys. And if you like the way Keon Coleman's been playing, I mean, if he keeps this streak up, he might be up for rookie of the year. I mean, I'd probably go to Jaden Daniels, especially after that Hail Mary, from today's game. But I mean, he'll be in the conversation at least if he keeps this up 70 to 80 yards a game for the rest of the season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, yeah, Jaden Daniels has been amazing this year, but yeah, this definitely opens things up for the other receivers because now teams have to worry about that additional threat. And the Bills can spread the ball around like they wanted to originally, and they might have gotten there anyway. This just makes it easier, right? And the Bills have been trying to find themselves a little bit more on offense this year, and I think this helps.
Yeah, it is so good to see this group kind of develop over time and just come the way that we're. The most important thing, like you mentioned earlier, John. I mean, I love the yak. I love the ability to high point a ball like Keon Coleman has. I mean, he's one of those guys that another guy that Josh Allen necessarily hasn't really had, where he can catch the ball even when he's covered, right? Like that one-handed touchdown in the first quarter to go up 7-0. The Bills haven't. They thought they could get it in like guys like Trent Sherfield, other tall guys out there. They just haven't been able to do that. I mean, you want to look in the past, like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, like James Hardy, right? James Hardy was a guy that we thought could be like this, and Keon Coleman is that guy so far. So he's as advertised, and I mean, how can you not be pumped for that as a Bills fan?
For sure, and I love the confidence that they missed on that play 2 plays earlier, but went for it again, and they got the touchdown on 3rd down. Pretty sure
Yeah,
it's
and against a really good cornerback on the Seattles. Yeah, for sure. For going back to it now, if they hadn't gotten John, we would have been like, "What the hell are you doing? Why would you do that? That's so dumb, right?" But no, they're in it. So we're singing the praises. It was a great play call, amazing play call by Joe Brady. What was nice, John, and we didn't really get into this, but the Bills did start off a lot better this first half than they have in recent first halves. At no point did it feel like the Bills were like, there weren't like consecutive 3-and-outs where you're just like, what are you guys doing? What is this? It felt like even when they weren't, even though there were a few punts in the game, it didn't feel like the Bills were making huge mistakes, just giving the ball back to the Seahawks like it was last week, even against the Titans. Uh, this just felt like it was the Bills were in control, and you weren't like, okay, is this train off the rails or what? Or are we going to continue to see some competence? And we got a lot of that today. So shout out to Joe Brady for coming on strong in the beginning and not. But hey, I mean that's a lot better than last week. What were they were down 10-7 or something like that, or 14-3 last week, or 10-3. I don't know. It's a lot better this week. 10-7, I can't remember, but they came out of the gates a lot better. On the defensive side of the ball, the Bills were getting pressure all game. They only had 1 sack. Javon Solomon had a sack later in the game. And then, interception wise, Austin Johnson had that interception on a screen pass in the third quarter. I love that play. Uh, I mean, how many times do you see a defensive lineman, especially the way the Bills have been playing the screen game recently, which has been, subpar to say the least, uh, for them to actually not only come away with a good defense for the screenplay, but also an interception on that play. Uh, that was that was John. Defensively, real quick, is that going to even be an honorable mention? Let's go into Sweet Sassy Molassie play the game. John, is that even an honorable mention for you for Sweet Sassy Molassie play the game?
is my sweet sassy Melissa play of the game.
Stop
You,
it.
are you kidding me? Epinesa with the pressure, Two Hill with the deflection, Austin Johnson with the interception. That was awesome. I was like, sweet sassy Melissa. That's it right there.
You said that right
Forget
on your couch.
forget everything else.
Right off the couch. Sweet Sassy Molassy. That was a good play, and that led to the Kincaid 12-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
That was all. No, I'm sorry. That was another play that led to the Cook 2-yard touchdown run that put the Bills up 24-3.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yep.
That was a good play string. I had that as a potential. I'm gonna give my like honorable mentions now, like the Hollins recovery of the muff punt at the end of the game. I know it didn't matter for anything, but as bad as this team's special teams has been, like that was a positive sign. Like that was a good sign, a heads up play by Mac Hollins. So my sweet sassy Molassy play of the game, um, I think is going to be when Geno Smith tripped on 4th and goal. So the reason why I say this, okay, uh, the the series before that, Geno Smith fumbled the snap, and ended up being a second goal, and then it ended up being like third and whatever, like 22, third and goal at the 22-yard line. Then the Seahawks ended up getting a 38-yard field goal. The Bills are only up by 7-3. Then at that point, Josh Allen throws an interception, his first interception of the season in game 8, mind you. Like it's a long time coming. I know they said he had 301 pass attempts since his last interception. Like it's a crazy, like tons of credit to Josh Allen, even though he fumbled it in the game once. It was recovered by the Bills. Tons of credit to Josh Allen for that. The other thing was, the Seahawks are driving down the field, and the Bills defense did a tremendous job of stopping them at the goal line 3 times in a row. They go on 4th and goal at the 1-yard line or the 2-yard line, and Geno Smith tripping back on his own offensive lineman. Mind you, it's not his fault, but like you could tell he was done. He's like, I'm done. Like I'm giving up on the play, which I appreciate because we're Bills fans and we watch Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen never has a give up. He has a never say die attitude about anything. There's not a give up in any bone in his body, right? Like he would have done that. And then they just tap him down. And it's just like that went from potentially the Bills going down 10-7 to staying up 7-3. And then, on the next series, which is even funnier, besides that, like on 3rd down, Allen's running with the ball and the ball's so slippery. I mean, you can see the rain. It was crazy raining in Seattle. Surprise, surprise. It rains in Seattle. And he takes the ball with one hand and he drops it and he kicks it forward. And Ty Johnson, you mentioned this, Ty Johnson jumps on the ball and saves it. There were 2 fumbles today. There was a fumble in the backfield where Spencer Brown jumped on, and the one that I just mentioned, Ty Johnson jumping on. John, lots of credit to like the Bills offensive, because as much as Josh Allen hasn't been throwing interceptions, he has had a couple of fumbles this season, including today, that could have gone the other way, but his offense has just been playing heads up.
First off, a lot of it is just the way the ball bounces. So
It's luck.
yeah, there's luck, and I think the Bills got lucky a lot today. But they still, I mean, they outplayed the Seattle easily. So I think it was a combination of those 2 things.
Yep, agreed. Combination. Yeah, they get a little lucky. A little lucky. Not gonna lie. So those are our sweet sassy Molassy plays of the game. By the way, if you guys are in the comments right now, which a few of you are, enjoying the back and forth, if you guys want to write in a sweet sassy Molassy play of the game, now we're going on to Wall of Fame and Wall of Shame. But if you guys have anything for that, feel free to tweet it in the live stream, to either through YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you want to do. So we are going into Wall of Fame and Wall of Shame. John, was the trivia that you wanted to do tonight for the Bills game, was it stats of the game or sweet sassy Molassy worthy, or is this Wall of Fame, Wall of Shame, or just general whatever?
The trivia thing wasn't really related to Wall of Fame, Shame, or Play.
Okay.
But
Okay.
No, do it after.
Yeah. Let's do it after. Hold on, I got to show you a quick replay of my sweet sassy Molassy play of the game. Hold on, I got to share my screen real quick. All right, here we go. Geno Smith on 4th and goal at halftime.
You play quarterback? Let me see your 3-step.
Hey, he's not the first one, man. It happens. It happens. It's not just Geno Smith out there. So Wall of Fame, Wall of Shame. John, I'll start with you first for your Wall of Fame. Who do you have, and how many people are you putting on there?
Mike's not on, so I can do whatever I want.
Dude, you can always do whatever you want. Don't listen to Mike, man. Don't let him run what you do in your Wall of Fame and shame. I love it.
My wall of fame is the run defense. You already mentioned it with Kenneth Walker, 9 of 12, 1.3. Geno Smith was their leading rusher, 5 of 16. Overall, 17 to 32, 1.8 yards per carry. They're holding them at the goal line. Run defense.
I love it. DK Metcalf was gone. This is the time to, focus on the run, and the Bills weren't going to let them have their way. I love the way that the defense played the run. I like that one a lot. Dude, I'm going to give my Wall of Fame to Greg Rousseau. I mean, you mentioned earlier, he was huge on the first drive. You were talking about him batting away passes earlier, and I mean, he was just getting pressure all day. And it's funny because it doesn't show up on the stat line for sacks. Plays. There was at least one of those plays that, we mentioned the interception or something like that, that like he was a part of that rushed that ball out from Geno Smith a little bit sooner than he would have liked to have done that. So I got to give a shout out to Greg Rousseau. I mean, he looks phenomenal the past few weeks. And guess what? Guess who we get back next week, John? Von Miller. It's Miller time, baby. So it's going to be that much better for the Bills' pass rush. It's been I'd say it's been pretty good the past few weeks, but still,
Yeah.
yeah.
And just to add on to the run defense, the whole season's been like, oh, well, let them run on us, but they're not going to beat us with a big passing play. But this week, the run defense, I think that makes it that much more impressive because there hasn't been an emphasis on that, and they still shut that down today.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We have one in from Joey Hatch. Joey Hatch says, "Go Bills." Joey Hatch says 12th man mafia in the house. I did get a lot of tweets and messages from Bills fans in Seattle, and you could see it. I mean, they mentioned in the crowd, Tom Brady mentioned in the crowd, talking about it, and you could see it there. Josh Allen, they showed Bill's social media showed clips of Josh Allen going to see the crowd like he does every time. Bills Mafia travels, man. I don't know if this is better than every other team, but it sure as hell feels like it. So shout out to Bills Mafia on that. John, is it wrong that I kind of want to give an honorable mention to Tom Brady for the fact that I didn't mind the way Tom Brady called today? I kind of like Tom Brady as a color commentary guy. I never thought he would do it, to be honest, earlier in his career, but I mean, you heard him. He was talking up Bill's Mafia. It's funny, some of the stories that he was telling, but I remember even when he left the Patriots, I stopped. It was just another example of that.
Bit there for me, but I just forgot that he was calling the game until the second quarter. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Until he was telling a story about when he was in the NFL. It's like, oh, okay, I forgot Tom Brady's. But he's a cheater, so yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe it was Bill. I don't hate Tom Brady for the first time in my life, so let me have this, okay? It wasn't Tom. It was Bill. Bill was the reason why he had to be so evil and why I hated him so much. So
I think they cheated together.
they were in collusion together. Maybe Tom Brady was just like, I got to do it. I got to do it, guys. I mean, it's what Belichick wants.
Yeah, he was talking about rubbing the footballs down. I'm like, oh, is he gonna talk about the deflate? No, no, you didn't quite get there.
I remember rubbing the football and taking just a little bit of air out, so it made it easier to pass the ball to my wide receivers.
And I talked to the refs to tell them to do that too, because it'd be better for me to do that. And I don't know.
Charla Zwemmer on Facebook says, "I quite enjoyed his commentary." All right, you guys be nice to Charla, okay? Don't give her any garbage or any guff because she said that she liked his commentary too, okay? All right, because I agree with her. So Joey Hatch said, "No, this is interesting." Joey Hatch should say, uh, he said, "I didn't like Bill's Mafia when I played there because they would have nooses hanging me out there of their car doors, but I loved it because Jim Kelly always brought me a bottle of booze to the game, which is hilarious." I do remember him saying that. Okay, it's all coming back to me, man. Joey, I can barely remember what happened 10 minutes ago, so appreciate you reminding me. But yeah, he didn't like it then, but I mean, he didn't like them while he was playing. Completely understandable. We hated him. We absolutely hated him. He was probably the most hated player in the NFL, according to Bill's Mafia, probably since Brian Cox when he was with the Dolphins, right? I mean, who else was hated more than Tom Brady at the time? Um, but yeah,
Is that weird? No, yeah, this is worse.
I didn't catch that.
I hate Brian Cox more than Tom Brady.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever hate anyone as much as we hated Brian Cox. And Christian Wilkins was up there, but top 5 maybe, but not nearly as much as Brian Cox. Um, yeah, yeah. This is I'm gonna give so my wall of fame is also mistakes. This is honorable mention time. Mistakes that went the Bills' way, right? Like that just I mentioned earlier, it doesn't happen a ton for the Buffalo Bills. This was one of those games that it did go their way. We mentioned a lot of that happening, in different incidents for the Buffalo Bills or against the Buffalo Bills. Uh, this was one of those things. So wall of shame, John. I'll start us off in the wall of shame. Uh, the Seattle Seahawks had the Bills actually had more penalties than the Seattle Seahawks, which you wouldn't have thought because of the way that the Bills game went. But I'm going to put penalties on my wall of shame. The Bills had 13 penalties for, let's see, I had this up, my phone shut off. 13 penalties for 85 yards. So I'm going to say wall of shame is penalties for me. What about you?
I agree. In particular, the offensive line penalties. Too many false starts and holding penalties. They did overcome them, but I mean, there's going to be games that you can't overcome that.
So this is going to be another honorable mention of my wall of fame, John. I just saw it earlier while I was looking at stats. I'm going to do a pop quiz for you guys. Okay, if you guys are listening or watching this live, feel free to message it in to us in the chat. Let's see. How many more minutes of possession did the Bills have than the Seahawks today in this game? How many more minutes? So obviously, an even game is 30-30, right? How many more minutes did the Bills have than the Seahawks in time of possession? Do 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 do.
Just cut it up. It's not that many.
How many? For some reason, it's funny. Whenever you talk and it's not complete sentences, if it's just a couple of things, it's not coming in as great. So let's see. Michael Biggs says 11. Charles Byrne says 14. Good, all great, all great guesses. It was 17 more minutes. I'm sorry, 16. 16 rather. 16 more minutes of possession than the Seahawks did. 38 minutes to 21 minutes. That's crazy. I knew the Bills were having long sustained drives, and this is kind of like I mean, Josh or Sean McDermott's kind of dream of how he figures the Bills have a stout defense. They're not letting the Seahawks score. You're talking about time of possession, running the ball well, throwing it, not creating a lot of turnovers. I mean, this was a Sean McDermott, well played, well coached game from his standpoint. So I like that one. So that's going to be my another wall of fame for mine. Wall of shame. Also, I'm going to give an honorable mention to mistakes that went their way. I know I said it, I gave it as for their wall of fame, but mistakes that went their way. That's great that it happened, but you can't count on that every week. It's great that it happened this week, but hey, I guarantee it won't happen against the Chiefs. So the Bills won 31-10. Not really a big deal. They play a lot of better teams in a few weeks. That won't fly. So let's hope that that's not the case against the Chiefs, against the 49ers, et cetera. So, although the 49ers don't seem like the impossible to beat either. So shout out to Chad Labrie. He said, what a great domination by Monday. Thanks, Chad. Appreciate that. All right, John. John, I'm going over to Twitter. We're going to do some hot takes from Bills Mafia. Do you want to give us any of your hot takes on this win before I turn it over to all of Bills Mafia?
It's really course at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So if you're not following us on Twitter, please do so. We're at CTW Pod. CTW Pod, as in Circling the Wagons podcast. Uh, as always, every week I say, what is your hot take on this Bills? Real quick, for the listeners, for the people that really pay attention, I give a bonus like Sweet Sassy Lassie, Play the Game, Wall of Fame, Wall of Shame. I'll do those real quick. Big Mike, a guy who's always supported us and been in on the spaces when we do them. Sweet Sassy Lassie, Play the Game. Keon's jump ball touchdown grab, seemingly just moments from having one broken up by Tariq Woolen. Keeping love the chemistry that they're showing only 8 games in. I mean, just think about the ceiling and how far this can go if things continue to trend in the right direction. I mean, how can you not be psyched about that? He says Big Mike. Big Mike also says Wall of Fame tied between the defensive line being as solid as we have seen them all year and Bass not being bothered by the weather. Yeah, we didn't even mention Bass, so thanks for Big Mike for saying that. I mean, shout out to Bass looking good today. I mean, they weren't long field goals, but he hit every one of them and the extra points, man. Wall of shame for Big Mike. Refs making the game about them instead of the players. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks again, refs, right? Big Mike says he's into the hot takes. He said there will be a penalty at some point this season that will cost the game. That is a hot take, and I don't even know if that's a hot take, John, because it feels like that's inevitable. Though if you've been following this team in the last 5, I mean, we've been fan for what 30, 35 years, I guess at this point. Um, it feels like that's inevitable, doesn't it? Your mic's muted. I don't know if you said something.
So you've been cutting out a lot, so I've been a lot of
Oh, I'm sorry.
context, but that time I didn't get anything.
Okay. No worries. Hey, guys in the comment, let me know if you're also getting a little bit of a lag between myself or John. Or here we go. You know what it was? It was my Ethernet. She said, and it just wasn't. I wasn't getting full Ethernet, so that's probably me. It's probably me. My bad. Uh, Andre Cabello says Coleman is in the process for a number 1 wide receiver. Oh, I love that one. That is a hot take. And I don't think you're that far off. I don't know if it's funny. I never thought necessarily that Keon Coleman would be a number 1 wide receiver necessarily. I think his role better than anyone we've ever had, better than Gabe Davis potentially. But I think that this is showing that like there's a lot. There's a potential for his ceiling to be higher than even what I thought, or potentially other Bills fans. Robin Armstrong. Now I love this take. The D missing Bernard and Milano able to hold Seattle run to virtually nothing. I love that one by Robin. Absolutely. That's huge. Original Hatred said Coleman will be the top wide receiver in this draft, not named Neighbors. Yeah. Yeah, which is just crazy considering the really good wide receivers coming out of this draft, if that is the case. And I sure as hell hope so. The division, our backups are holding it down. Keep throwing. Who's the busta? That's our boy. Oh, Zero. That's what you meant. That's our boy Zero. Way to win in all three phases, boys. Keep playing all four quarters, and good things will happen. Go big. Christy M says Keon is just getting started. Who doesn't love Josh Allen at this point? He's looking great. It's funny. I was watching the very end of the command game with that Hail Mary pass. And even watching Caleb Williams play, besides that Jane Daniels Hail Mary pass, it's just like is our player, is our quarterback. Let's see. My wife's seeing me for the first time with my mask on. If you guys are joining us via YouTube or any sort of thing, she's seeing me for the first time with my Lucha Libre Bills mask on. I can't. I like the anonymity. I like. You're saying it doesn't do it for you? That's fair. That's fair. Now let's see you put it on, and I'll let you know if it goes the other way. You just lost your heart on. Well, I'm gonna rip it off later. All right. The Bills won tonight. Hope you're ready. The PNW Bills Mafia says the only team that has any chance to stop Buffalo will be KC in the AFC Championship. Absolutely. I I I think the Ravens are still somewhat of a big hurdle in the Bills' way, wouldn't you say, John? Isn't that? I'd say the Ravens and the Chiefs are our biggest, and you can't not throw the Texans in. A couple things go their way.
Perspective, it would be Chiefs, Ravens, and Texans, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no one really truly scares you, or at least has you thinking. And we've seen the Chiefs. I mean, they're about 8 plays away from being like 0-8, or 0-7 or whatever. So, yeah, John, do you want to do here? I got a couple of more tweets from Bills Mafia. So, and then we'll do your trivia. Okay. Karen, hashtag Bills Mafia, hashtag Saberhood, said Bills playing in February. Go Bills, and Bass is back. Yeah, I mean, I love the way that the Bills Mafia came around for him last week against the Titans and cheering him on in his thing. I'm just hoping that that's kind of like the boost he needs. I hate it. I hate it when people are like, he gets paid millions of dollars, just do it. It's like, you're not a human being, man. Like, I guarantee it, your job, given anything that's going on, like, you're not the best. You're not always on your game, 100% of your time, 100% of the time. It's just not. Whether you're, picking up garbage on the side of the road, or whether you're inputting numbers into a spreadsheet, or whether you're running a Fortune 100 company as a CEO, like, you're just not always on your game. And, these guys have lives. Like, we have no idea. I'm not saying anything hypothetically, but like, this is completely hypothetical, but like, let's say, Tyler Bash has found out his mom had cancer. Or what if his wife, going on with these players' lives that we just have no idea. The reality is, like, he's a player, he's a person, he's a human being. So, I mean, if you're encouraging him and he still can't do it, then, get rid of him. But at least for now, let's try to build him up. So I love that Karen mentioned that. Big R, our guy Big R says Bean is so good. Our first four picks are Keon Coleman, Cole Bishop, Dwayne Carter, and Ray Davis. Cole Bishop is in on special team. On the defensive line, Ray Davis is making moves. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this could, John, is it crazy to think that the Bills didn't have a first round pick this year and this could be one of the best drafts they've ever had besides the Josh Allen draft?
I mean, well, it's way too early to evaluate that. And technically, they had a first round pick. They just traded down just enough to not have a. I, yeah, it's fine. They're going to be fine. They've been drafting well over the last several years. Either way, I'm kind of bummed that Carter got put on IR.
Who did?
The third round pick, defensive tackle.
Oh, he did? I didn't know that. I didn't know Carter got put on IR. I missed that. Jeez.
Yeah,
You think
hopefully he'll be back, but it's just another injury they got to overcome, and he's been playing well.
that? Did that happen after this game or was it before this game?
No,
How did I
before.
miss that?
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. A few days ago they put him on IR.
Jeez, I missed that. Dude, how did I miss that? I like always spend way too much time on social media. Okay, yeah, I see it now. Officially placed on IR. Not a contributor for the rest of the season, but I mean, you got to love what he's showing, what he has shown at least. Look at the AFC East may be clinched before December. Yeah, if only, buddy. If only, that would be amazing. But not entirely out of the realm of possibility, especially with the Jets fire over there. All right. Offense and defense came out hot from where they finished last week. Overall domination on both sides of the ball. Allen cooked today with Shakir, Coleman, and Kincaid connection. Happy Victory Monday. Happy Victory Monday, buddy. Charles Burns says, hot takes of the game. Bills played balanced ball on offense and defense. Wall of Fame, Matt Collins punt recovery. Wall of Shame, empty. Sweet Sassy Molassy, the Keon Coleman one-handed touchdown grab to start it all off. Yeah, those are all great plays. AJ Tharp, I'm going to end on this one, I think. A couple more. There's a couple more good ones. AJ Tharp says our D line played great all game, held them to 32 rushing yards, and had what felt like 12 sacks, but was really only one. Poor Gino got hit so many times. I felt bad for him. Let's squish the fish next week. Absolutely. They're going to be pissed. The fish are going to be pissed after barely losing to the Cardinals this last week. Josh Allen's left arm says Josh Allen will make 302 passes until his next interception. I'm going to hold you to that. Josh Allen's left arm. Brandon says second best team in the AFC, potentially the first. Autumn says, she mentions if the Bills can start, absolutely start fast in Seattle when it's raining, when it's not ideal conditions. Absolutely. All right, John, it's time for your trivia of the week. Let's hear it.
Let's go. In 2013, EJ Manuel and Geno Smith were of the same draft class. EJ in the first round, Geno in the second round. Bills and Jets. How many Bills starting quarterbacks have there been since the 2013 NFL draft?
How many Bills quarterbacks since EJ Manuel? Is EJ
Starting,
Manuel counted?
yes. So
Okay.
that's one. Starting quarterbacks since 2013.
Oh man. There were at least 4 during EJ's tenure with the Bills that weren't him. I don't know if Kevin Cobb's got to be on there because I don't think he retired after his concussion. Did he? I think he played with the Bills a little bit. Did he? Or am I thinking of Kyle Orton? Kyle Orton played with the Bills that season. I mean, geez, I think they meet. You're talking starting, not just playing, right?
Quarterback.
If I had to throw out a number, I'd have to say 12.
Interesting guess.
How many was it?
You're relatively close.
I bet you it's more, isn't it? It's more than 12.
No.
Is it 10?
Closer.
9?
Yeah.
9. Yeah. Michael Biggs came out and he's like random guess 13. That's a good guess. I say it's a great guess because it's right next to mine. Michael.
How many of the 9 can you guess?
Well, I just mentioned EJ Manuel, Kyle Orton.
Yep. EJ and Kyle. Yep.
Jeez. Nathan Peterman, Tyrod Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, who is that other quarterback out of Duke? His helmet ripped off and still throwing a pass for a touchdown. Either that or running for a first down against the Dolphins. I remember he was our quarterback, I think, that when the Bills like ended the Dolphin season so that they couldn't make it to the playoffs, which is basically like a playoff game for us because it was peak drought era. What was his name? Can you give me a hint? Mm, I can't think of his name, but that guy, that guy from Duke.
Name the current quarterback for the Bills. That's one of them. Who played for the Bills today?
Oh, Josh Allen, of course.
Yes, correct. Okay, that's one.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. I was getting there. I was trying to go in time order.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Even though I'm sure I already skipped 3 or 4. Tyrod, geez, Peterman. I'm trying to think of who was between Peterman. There's
yeah. Oh, yeah, you already have Peterman. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm trying to think of I think there was someone that started. Well, who was starting for the Bills when Josh Allen went out with an injury his rookie season? I don't know if it was Peterman or someone else. It must have been someone else.
Definitely somebody that was backing up Josh Allen.
Was it? Yeah. It was.
He. I don't know.
What's a way to give me? I can picture him. And I can't come up with a name of him.
Whatever I say is going to give it away, so I should just say Matt Barkley.
Matt Barkley. Thank you, Matt Barkley. I like Matt Barkley. Michael Biggs mentioned. Did you say Fitz? That was before Fitz, right? Fitz was before all this, right?
No, Fitz isn't one of these, but there's still 3 more.
Oh, geez, 3 more, dude. I don't know if Mitchell Trubisky is in there.
No. He didn't start.
Case Keenum did he start?
No. These are kind of tougher, but especially one of them, Derek Anderson.
Oh yeah, Derek Anderson. He was after EJ Manuel. I thought he was like before. Oh no, that makes sense. I remember being excited when Derek Anderson came, and then I remember one of the best video clips ever. It looked like you were laughing over there. I wasn't laughing. This isn't fun for me. You think this is fun for me? Well, I don't know if I think it's fun for you, but you were laughing. Well, I wasn't laughing. He's like, yes, you were. We saw you on camera. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, give me another one.
Yeah, so the other two, Jeff Toole.
Jeff Toole. Wow, Toole time.
Toole time. Remember Toole time? We're like, okay, we're done with EJ. It's Toole time. We're good to go.
When people were always saying like some folks were, it's so funny. We talk about politics being divided between red and blue or whatever, and like I want to say one of the most divisive times in Bills Mafia was when you don't have a quarterback. People will either stick with the current quarterback or just say any guy other than that. So like half the fan base was like Tyrod's the guy, he's the guy, and then the other half of the fan base is like anybody but Tyrod. And then Jeff Toole was one of those anyone but Tyrod candidates. Nathan Peterman was also on that list. Looking back at it, so yeah, okay, so you got those guys, okay. Then there's another one. Jeez, in that time frame, Brian Brom maybe or something.
Way too early on.
Way too early on.
Thad Lewis.
Thad Lewis. Okay, gotcha. That's who I couldn't think of, man.
Yeah,
Thad Lewis. I like
that
that.
was the one you're thinking of. Yeah.
I like that. I still like Tyrod better, and I liked a lot of those guys better than Thad. But Thad, man, if you could give, like, Thad had no give up too. Like all these best qualities of former Bills players, like Josh Allen has that of like Thad of just like never say die, man. That's what you loved about him. Yeah, yeah, cool, man. Good trivia, dude. All right, we're wrapping this up. It's been almost an hour at this point. We've had over 1,700 viewers. Oh, by the way, I mentioned to other folks that we're doing giveaways. I think we're going to do it for the Chiefs game, maybe the Chiefs recap. But I have a signed Daryl Talley jersey. Daryl Talley jersey. Looks like it's backwards because my webcam is backwards. Signed Daryl Talley jersey for folks. We've gotten some 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, which I mentioned is one of the ways that you can get entered into that. It's probably one of the easiest ways, to be honest. 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Another great way is to comment on our YouTube channel, on our videos there. That's best. I'm going to read one of the reviews real quick from Apple Podcasts. It's from the Cable Guy 8. He says, every week, these guys bring great content about the games and everything Buffalo Bills related information. Keep up the great work, guys. Go Bills. Thank you, Cable Guy 8. Jercom78 says, different take on Buffalo Bills news. Great podcast. I follow the guys over from the now defunct Buffalo Rumblings Network. It's a different kind of Buffalo Bills podcast, hosted and co-hosted by guys who are lifelong friends and have lived Bills fandom and been on the roller coaster with the rest of us. Go Bills. Yeah, that's kind of been our, I appreciate you saying that, by the way, Jercom78. This is one of the things that, separates us from a lot of other Bills podcasts is not only this is, first of all, we're lifelong Bills fans. We're best friends from high school. We've just known each other a long time. But I mean, we're fans first and foremost, and we're just trying to inform, talk about, and entertain you when we do this. I mean, this isn't like, hey, did you notice on the screen pass the Seahawks were paying cover 0? Like, I mean, I understand that stuff to a point, but that's not really what gets me going. What gets me going is talking about this team, talking about the Bills as a fan, and just kind of, like we do to this game. Like John just had a perfect example of trivia, like reminiscing a little bit about the times past. And it's not so much reminiscing because they weren't great times, but at the same time, like, it's part of our history as Bills fans. That's what we lived through. That's what we went through. And yeah, it's a fun thing to talk about. And John and Mike have been there this whole time. So appreciate any of you guys that have been listening to us for all 7 seasons. Appreciate anyone that's been listening for the last few seasons or have just found us this season. Now that we're part of the official Bills Mafia Buffalo Fan Base Podcast Network, the group over here does a great job. One of the reasons why we joined them from the Buffalo Rumblings Podcast Network was that besides the fact that the Rumblings just became defunct, like Jercom mentioned, is that we got along with these guys great. I mean, they're just really cool, down to earth guys and gals, obviously, but it is a fun time. Love everyone on here. I've met a lot of them in person at different functions and stuff like that. And I mean, if you like them, if you like us, you'll like them, and vice versa. So cool. Thank you guys all for listening. Looking to do this giveaway. I think there's like 80, maybe 80 people in the giveaway. And you know what? If we keep getting more mentions and more comments, I'm going to give away something else. I have a thing back here, a bin that my wife's been begging me to get rid of in our basement that has about 5 or 6 other Bills autograph paraphernalia and stuff like that. Paraphernalia, is that the right term? Autograph memorabilia. There we go. Paraphernalia sounds like a drug thing. Man, I got some cool paraphernalia down here, man. Some Buffalo Bills Kush. Some good stuff, man. All right, cool.
Not if it's autographed, then I guess.
What's that? Repeat it.
If it's autographed, then I guess it makes it better, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's got to make it better. Yeah, it's all autographed. So I went on this weird phase where I kept buying stuff off the internet that was it seemed like a good deal at the time. Um, and then I bought way too much. So I've been selling it on eBay and giving it away on the podcast. So would love for one of you guys to win it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for either streaming with us live or listening the next day on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to us on podcast networks, and also viewing us on our own YouTube channel, our Facebook account, our Twitter account, our whatever Instagram account, whatever you guys got. I appreciate you guys being a part of this. John, any final thoughts before we end this Bills Victory Monday recap podcast edition?
Bills, book your Super Bowl tickets. This is the year.
It feels good, man. It feels good. We were in a rut we're ascending up that hill, man. So thank you guys all for listening. Signing off for John.
Bills.
And for me, Nate, the Bills raining on the Seattle Seahawks parade, like Big R said. Go Bills, and we'll talk to you guys again next week. Oh, and I also have to leave it on this note real quick. I'm presenting my screen. There's a gentleman that I saw on social media. I had to share his story. Such a cool guy. His name is Alex. He's a special needs adult who his dad takes care of now, and he was with him recently. And you just have to watch the video. I'm going to present it right now.
Alex.
Yeah,
Hey, you awake?
I'm awake.
You good?
I'm good.
Well, Mom and I were talking about trying to find a good place to watch the game, tonight.
Tonight,
Yeah, trying to find a good place to watch the game. Yeah. And we decided that we were gonna go to a restaurant and get some wings, try and get some wings.
so I get some wings.
Yeah. And then we decided that the best place to watch the game would be at the stadium.
We're going to the stadium. Are we going to it?
We're gonna go watch the Buffalo Bills play the Jaguars.
I didn't say. Do we get tickets?
We have tickets. We're going tonight.
Yeah. We got tickets.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah. How much are they?
Don't worry about
Don't worry about that. Are you excited?
I'm excited.
To see Josh Allen?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that was the first part of it. And then this is the second part where Alex, this is from his dad, Brady Smith. If you're not following him, he's on Twitter now. I've shared his tweets. He's on Instagram. This is a shot of Alex's first game at the Jaguars. He sent us this.
The Bills make me wanna shout, kick your heels up and shout, throw your hands up and shout, throw your head back and shout. Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout, yeah, 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 yeah. Come on, come on, come on and shout, yeah. The Bills are happening now. They're making it happen now. You got the spirit, a lot of spirit, yeah. You got the spirit. Just watch it happen now. Hey, 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 hey. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. The Bills make me wanna.
How cool is that, man? Right?
Awesome stuff. I love it.
Yeah, it's like it's funny. I actually ended up texting with his dad because I saw it on another Instagram account, and I'm like, that guy's a Bills fan. It's one of those like Instagram accounts that shows really heartfelt things, and I was like, oh, this is a Bills fan. I gotta share this. So I went and found him on social media, and I messaged him. I said, "Hey, are you okay with us sharing it?" And he's like, "Absolutely." Super cool guy. Brady, his father, super cool guy. We shared it on all of our social media accounts, which we don't have like millions of followers or whatever, but it reached a far enough reach that like the NFL, commented on the Buffalo Bills official account, commented on it. People have been offering him good stories. I'm glad to be a part of, glad to have helped out, and whatever. And Brady's super, super cool. He's from South Carolina, so he was able to come to the Bills Jaguars game, and hoping to meet him by the end of the season. Hopefully, we can meet for a game, and I can tell media accounts, or if you're listening to this, watch it on our YouTube channel or Facebook or wherever you listen to this. Now I got to share this one, John. We did the heartfelt one, and now I got to share this last one to end the podcast. This is why you do not beef with anybody in another team stadium or anyone in general, man. It's just not worth it. It is just not worth it, bro. Dude, I have a new favorite Mexican boxer. I didn't have any before, now I have one. If you guys haven't seen that video, it one from, Bill's Mafia, which was the boxer, Michelle, a Texans fan who was on a level higher than him, which was just talking mad junk. And he was a big dude. Like if it was me, I'd be a little afraid because I'm not a big guy, but like he looked angry. He looked and the guy who ended up being a boxer who was wearing a Bills shirt was just like just smiling, man. Just like, okay, whatever. And not scared whatsoever. Walked away. Oh, that's why? It's because he's a Mexican professional boxer. He's had 14 wins and 7 knockouts, no losses. Oh, that's why. That's why he's confident. That's why he's laughing at it, because he knows it's just one punch and he's taking anyone down in the entire stadium. So that was a cool clip. I had to add those at the end, bud. So cool. Oh yeah, last thing. If you are interested, I'm starting up a Twitter thing where I'm going to set up a group for a group chat within Twitter. So it's going to be a special group within for Circling the Wagons podcast listeners, viewers. So if you are interested in being part of that, we're going to share clips. We're going to chat about, like, we're going to release Bill's news. Like, if you guys are going to be active parts of it, it's not just going to be like hey, you're just going to look at what we say, man. Like, you're just going to view what we put out there. No. This is going to be where you guys text us or tweet us or message us certain things of like, oh, did you see this tweet from Adam Schefter? Or did you see this? Like, we're going to have our own group, because the problem is, like, you could have 1 million followers on Twitter, but your followers don't always see your content, and vice versa. I don't always see everyone else's content. So we will have our own group, and I just want this to be listeners of the podcast, because you guys are a pretty cool group, and I'm actually starting to become friends with several of you over the years and stuff like that. So this is going to be a group for folks like you, like-minded folks like yourselves, and we'll have a good discourse there. So anyway, signing off for John, go Bills. Signing off for me, Nate, go Bills, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.